Hi everyone, it's Tom Mackie here. I'm in the beautiful Peak District in Derbyshire. I've been here for the last few days conducting a workshop. Now we've had phenomenal weather conditions. We've had everything from beautiful sunshine like today with great clouds, mist in the mornings in the valley, and a little bit of rain. You got to expect that now and again. But one of the things I was teaching on the workshop is how to actually do a focus stack. Now what is a focus stack? Now first off, let's talk about the difference between depth of field and image sharpness. There are two different things. Now, image sharpness is what we're going to be working with today to get the optimal, crisp, sharp image. Depth of field is where you close your aperture down to say f16, 18, 22 to increase your depth of field to get everything sharp in front of the camera right to infinity. But what that does is it softens the image. So you don't get that fantastic image quality. So how do we get the really crisp image quality? By using the optimal aperture of this lens. Now the lens I'm using today is a 24-70 and I'm about, around 24 mil. So I do get a lot of depth of field with that. But as you can see, I've brought the camera in right close to the heather and there's no way that I can get everything sharp at f8 from in front of the camera right to infinity. So what I'm going to do is a focus stack where I'm conducting a variety of different focus points throughout the scene and then merging those in post afterwards. Now, if you're lucky to have a camera that actually does this in the camera, like the D850 here, it takes all that fuss around, trying to do it manually. But if you don't, you can actually just tweak the focus ring manually and do the same thing. But I'm going to show you how to do it with the 850. So to start off, I set it on live view, and I choose the focus point at the very bottom of the frame. So it doesn't matter if I have the wind blowing, because what I'm going to do is combine all those images into one. And if they're blowing, I'm going to show you how to do that in post to get the sharpest focus point throughout your image. So first thing, I want to make sure my shutter speed is going to be fast enough. So I'm going to increase the ISO a little bit. And I'm bringing that up to about, here we go, let's bring this up. Okay, about a 40th of a second should do. It's not blowing a great deal. So I'm at 40th of a second at f8. I've set my focus point at the very bottom of the frame. Now I'm going to go into the menu, and the very first menu here, we have the camera. Go to the very end of that menu setting, and you'll see focus shift shooting. If I go into that, you have the number of shots we're going to start with. I generally set mine for 50. That's not to say it's going to take 50 shots. The camera will only take the number of shots that it actually needs. So the next thing is the focus step width. This is the steps of the different widths that it'll focus at. Now, if you're doing macros, you want to have that set to 1. So it's very narrow steps. It's going to take a lot more images, but on something like this, maybe 2 or 3 is sufficient. And then I have it set to silent photography, so I'm in live view anyway. It's locked the shutter up, the mirror up, so you're not going to get that mirror slap each time that might cause some vibration. So let's go ahead, and we've got some sheep, if you can see them. You can see their butts, but okay. We've got a beautiful sky here. Now I've used a grad over the sky just to the horizon. This is a 3-stop hard grad. And let's just go ahead and start that. I'm just going to shield the lens a little bit just to make sure there's no flare coming into the lens. And that's doing about 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 images. Okay, now at the end of this, it's a good idea to separate that from your series just by taking a picture of your hand. It makes it a lot easier in post-processing to figure out where your series is. So now I'm going to take you into the studio to show you how to put these images together using Zareen Stacker. Okay, so we're back, and I've mentioned that we're going to be using Zareen Stacker. There are other methods that you can try. Photoshop, I've tried this. It's not the most ideal. It does produce artifacts. It's a little bit more clunky to use. There's another software called Helicon Focus, which is very good. It's on a subscription-based model, pricing model, which I really don't like subscription models, even though I'm kind of stuck in Adobe, but I use that every day. Whereas focus stacking, I don't tend to use every day. So I find paying for this every single month is probably a little bit over the top. Now, Zareen Stacker, very well priced. It does probably the best job that I've found. It doesn't produce artifacts. It's very easy to use, which I'm going to show you how to do that now. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing you want to do is export the images from Lightroom into a new folder called Stacks. It's what I've placed on my desktop. And you want to export these as 16-bit files. You want to be working with the highest sort of resolution and information as possible. So once you have them into your Stacks folder, you want to just open up Zareen Stacker and drag them into the input panel here on the left. And as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 images in the end that I made out in the field. So next, what we want to do is go up to Stack and align and stack all. And this is going to go through and combine all these images into one image. You can see here on the right. So this is currently in progress. So the nice thing about this is you have all your folders or all your images over here on the left. And when you click on each one of these images, you'll see where it's focused in the left-hand image. And then you're going to be actually working on the right-hand image. So you're going to be retouching. So anything that we had blowing, it's going to create multiple flowers or any elements that are moving around. The sheep, obviously, you can see they're creating some strange sort of multiple sheep here because they're moving. So all of that is going to be retouched quite easily when this is finished. Okay, now once it's done here, you're going to get the set contrast threshold box that will come up. And what this does, as you can see, I'll drag this over. It's setting the sort of details that it's going to be affecting. So this is where it's taking out artifacts. So on this ridge here, we just want to bring that down so that it's only working on this area here. It's not affecting the subject down in the foreground. So let's hit OK. That's going to go through and carry out that procedure. Okay, now that that's complete, what we're going to have to do is retouch any multiple flowers or anything that's moving within the scene. So if you go down to the bottom, and I usually set it for 100 or 50 or 100%. So let's go ahead and set that to 100%. Now the sliders, as you can see, when I first started using this, I thought I like moving through the image like I do in Lightroom or Photoshop, where I'll just drag around the image. But I understand why Zareen Stacker has done this with the sliders, because it's very methodic. So you go across, retouch, and then go up to the next section. So you're not missing any focus points at all. So you're going through like that. So let's go ahead and start at the bottom of the frame, far left-hand side. Go up to Edit and start retouching. Okay, let's just make the brush a little bit smaller here. Here we go. Okay, it's thinking about it. There we go. Okay, so now I can just use my brackets on the keyboard to make the brush size a little bit smaller. And I'm going to select the file that is the sharpest, as you can see here on the left-hand side. And if we go to the next one, okay, that's pretty good. So if I go ahead and just brush in here, can see that is retouching anything that was moving. And let's just go up here a little bit. We've got a focus point that's sharpened there. There we go. Okay, let's just scale over. And retouch this. You can see as you're brushing in here, here we have multiple flowers that, but once we brush over, okay, sorry about that. Every time it's not catching up, it dings. Okay, there we go. So just brush over that. Now, I'm not going to go through and do this whole thing, but you get the idea. So let's just go up to, let me just show you the multiple shots of the sheep and the guy up here. Okay, so up here we can see this guy has moved across the ridge. If we just brush over, that brushes out all the other extraneous people. I'm going to retouch them out later anyway, but you get the idea of this. But the sheep I think I'm going to leave in here. So if we just scroll over here, you can see some really strange things going on with the sheep here. So I'll just brush over, and there we go. Now we just have the one sharp image of the sheep. Okay, when you're done retouching, you go up to Commit Retouching, and then we're going to save that. So let's go ahead and fit that. Just have a look at that. Looks pretty good. So when we're finished, you want to save that output image. Let's go up to File, Save, and then you want to output that. And this is going to save it into the same folder where we have our stacked images. So it's going to save it as a 16-bit TIFF file again. Save the image, back into stacks, and then we're done. Okay, so there you have it. You can see how easy that was to accomplish this focus stack using Zarine Stacker. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. You got some great tips on how to accomplish a focus stack. If you've liked it, hit that like button and please do subscribe. So we've got a lot more videos coming in the future. So stay tuned and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.